Howdy gamers, welcome. Today we meet at the podcast setting with a bunch of content creators. From the left, G, Lost, Oro, Waifu, and Prod. And we are going to talk about Nightreign. You can see in the background the trailer of Nightreign being played on the repeat. And honestly, we don't really have much of, let's call it like a side notes that we're gonna strictly follow. We just want to talk about our hopes, about our opinions, and about our expectations in regard of oncoming Elden Ring game. So, kind of similarly to the previous podcast that we had, do we have anyone that really wants to share their opinion about Elden Ring Nightreign, like right now?
I mean, I guess I can start because I think just like most people who were watching the trailer, I was super hyped when I saw Elden Ring Nightreign pop up onto the screen. I could not stop shaking. I was exuberant. And then I started to read more about it, and then I read no PvP, and my heart sank to the pit of my stomach, and I probably cried a little bit as well.
I was screaming when I have seen like a second frame of the trailer. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and we were like, "Oh my god, look, it's Elden Ring!" Like, you know, it was so obvious, yeah. Like just looking at the graphics, at the art style, you immediately knew. Then I have seen the circle of the shrinking circle thingy. I'm like, oh my god. They are doing live service type of game.
Battle Royale.
I was like, dude, Battle Royale coming. Unbelievable. And honestly, I was hyped as hell because that would just mean like multiplayer focused PvP game.
Yeah.
And then I see no more than 3 players, like on the screen. I see only bosses. I don't see like players fighting against each other. And I am slowly thinking, wait, please don't do it to me. And they did it to me. This game has no PvP. It has 3-player limit at max.
That was pretty much the feeling I had as well. But after like sleeping on it and thinking and reflecting, I do think that it's important that I judge the game on what it's going to be and not what I want it to be. And the more I took that perspective, the more I felt like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm a little afraid of what they're trying to do here because I have never seen a third-person fantasy melee-focused game do a roguelike before. Plenty of shooters, but never a melee-focused. So I'm a little worried about that aspect of it, but I am rather carefully optimistic, I think, when it comes to this. Not only as a gamer, but as a content creator as well, because each run is a video.
What is actually Nightreign, first of all, yeah? It is a spin-off of essentially RPG game, but it's not going to be RPG at all, yeah? So like this is like action game with survival elements and co-op elements, and that's about it. Do we have anyone here that actually have like ultimate like worries related to exactly this aspect, the fact like this is actually not RPG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge worries. FromSoft has never done the style of game before. They've never done what is essentially a roguelike, right?
Okay, roguelike again.
You know, you said like action co-op, but in reality, this game is a roguelike game, you know, and they're just, you know, sort of dodging that fact for some reason.
Yeah, like there is literally no information about it anywhere.
Yeah, and when you see this game, you're like, what the hell is this? Like, what is it? And it can be boiled down to it is just Elden Ring roguelike, which is really cool, but I'm worried because they've never done this before. And I trust FromSoft, you know, we all do. They haven't missed in like 10 years, over a decade now. But I'm worried just from what we've heard that it's one map.
It's procedurally generated, but like still one map.
Yeah. Procedurally generated. They got different stuff in this one map. It's still one area. It's still, you know, it seems very limited for what they're trying to do. So I don't know. I need to play it. I think this is something I need to play before making any big judgments. But I'm curious to hear what Waifu has to say.
Yeah, go for it.
Of course, since we just found out about it, I believe they're gonna make changes and all, but as far as we know, we can only play as 1 or 3 people right now, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken, right?
No. You are mistaken. Just that people in the closed test for journalists, they had like access only for characters. There is gonna be 8 characters like available at the release.
No, that's not what I meant.
Okay, so
That's not what I meant. I mean the amount of players that are gonna be in a session.
Yeah.
For what we know, there's only gonna be 1 or 3.
Yes.
First of all, no 2 players. So if you only have 1 friend, go fuck yourself. Go find another one. And I think we're kind of going backwards a little bit, because in Dark Souls 3 it was 6 players, then in Elden Ring it was 4, and now it's 3.
Honestly,
why is it stopping them from, going 6?
There is like a downside to it and upside. So downside is of course the fact that if you don't have like a more friends to play with, then you are forced to play with a random. But I am actually kind of glad they are going with this road for one particular reason. They have finally started to looking at their queues, like in the meaning that like queue types, and came to the conclusion maybe giving like 7 billion options for people to queue in is not exactly the play, because look what type of problem we have with the arenas in Elden Ring. Like it's the same was with Dark Souls 3. Like vast majority of the game modes in the arena dies out because people are extremely spread out, like throughout different venues, throughout different game modes. Like you have like people getting confused about, like, for example, like where they supposed to even duel because of the united combat being a thing. Then you have like the direct duels, then you have like the third one, the free for all, that like I don't even, honestly, I forgot like the name of it, like Combat Ordeal, I think, yeah? Like you have just so many of these, and then you actually multiply all these game modes times 2, because you also have freaking Spirit Ashes, like being the additional option for all of these. Like, so like there is so many game modes in the arena, and ultimately almost all of them are dead. So
well,
I am kind of,
I think,
I'm kind of glad they actually going with minimal amount of the queues in that regard.
Well, I think that could be easily solved with a lobby system. If you just allow people to create lobbies, I mean, that will solve everything. You just look for the lobbies that are available, or create your own, enter with your friend, then randoms join, and chaos ensues. But we don't even have that. I don't think it's that difficult to make a lobby system. Like, a lot of games do it. Why not these?
I mean, like, From Software did the lobby system for Armored Core.
Yep, exactly.
But
so that we know they can do it. They're capable.
Yeah, they are capable of lobby system. It's possible.
I certainly agree when it comes to the fact that you're not allowed to go in there with 2 people. That's a little weird. And I also agree that having only 4 people in Elden Ring is a huge step back. But as far as being 1 to 3 people in Nightreign, I think that is the right choice, because it's important to balance this out properly and create like interesting dynamics between the different classes and the different characters that you play. So you don't want to. This is not a massively multiplayer game. This is something that you want to have a nice tight experience with, and So 3 players feels right to me, even if I do find it absurd that you can't just go in there with one buddy. You have to have a random tagging along.
Honestly, we're gonna.
I agree.
You agree with the?
It feels redundant.
You also other things like it's actually dog shit, like that. Actually, you cannot.
No. I think it's actually. I mean, I think that there's a purpose behind the 3 players. The 2-player thing makes no goddamn sense at all. But them limiting to 3 players for the hero versatility and gameplay and the sort of the the higher stakes, I guess, with not having just like 6 people roll everything, I think is actually probably a smart choice.
Okay, so like you feel like a 3 limit is fine, but like what about duos? Like you think actually duos would be cool, like for the game, or like because
like
here
PvP?
No, just ability.
Duos. Yeah, no, duos would be sick. Yeah, I don't know why the hell they're not doing that.
Okay, like so like I guess I am the only one that actually like I just think that limiting queues as much as possible like works well for the longevity for vast majority of games that I know, honestly. So that's why I'm honestly
I love how
It's
sorry.
it's
I
not
love how
necessarily about
Ora's
that.
voice just got filled with joy when you mentioned when he misheard duels for duels. Like he was like PvP.
We added it.
What you wanted to say, G?
I actually did. I was so excited, but it's
I mean,
not real.
PvP gonna be there in form of the mods,
in
prob-
form of mods,
yeah.
for sure. Yui's gonna mod that shit in so fast. But
What you wanted to say, G?
It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with activity, because you can have a lobby, whereas you can just join the lobby and start the match even if the lobby is not full with 3 players. But I mean, that's not what they're doing. I think they're just limited by their own systems that they've built for the arena, but that's just a theory.
But wait, Arena allows you for that.
Most likely. Now that you
I-
mention it, I think that's the most likely answer.
no, I actually disagree. I think the most likely reason they're doing one solo or just trios is because they want I think the only reason they would do that is that they're worried about activity. They're worried about activity in, a duo mode and a trio mode separating, splitting it into.
Yeah, but you don't need that. You don't need to do that. You can.
I know you
still-
don't,
Yeah.
but I know they could have both. And
So they're
they should have
limited, is
both.
what you're saying then. Because if the only way they can do it is have a trio mode and a duo mode, then you'd be right. But that means that they're limited by what they already have for their tech, basically. Instead of
But-
making just a normal lobby where you can launch with 2 players, even if the lobby is a 3-player.
That's true, but also, let's say you're a solo player and you're matchmaking and there's a group of 2 and they start the game without you, then that's one less game than the solo player can join. That might be their concern, is that matchmaking would be slower. I don't know. I really don't know what the hell they're thinking. But that's what a lot of low key games that don't have a lot of players, they're hesitant to do duos when they have trios already, because it's going to split the player base. So I don't know if that's the reason, especially because without crossplay, it's going to be harder to get players. But it's Elden Ring, man.
Jesus.
Everybody's going to play this fucking game. They could have duos, trios. They could have half of a person and people would still play it, So I don't know.
I mean, it's gonna be like that for the first month, 2 or 3. But honestly, I actually wonder if this game actually has a chance for the longevity. We're gonna see what they are going to cook with it, but it's I am actually afraid that this thing might die out, because actually, so here's a perspective of my girlfriend that's it's let's call it more of a player that, instead of going with the most tryhard armor set in the game, she would actually go with something that is pretty, different type of player, let's call it that way, yeah, one more casual one, if you will. So she immediately noticed that the game, even on the trailer, immediately looking kind of repetitive. They are just running around using abilities, then ult, and that's about it. So if the game is from now on going to focus none on your individual ability to create your own character, yeah, you don't have possibility to make actual your own representation, manifestation of yourself in the game world or whatever, yeah, because there is no character creator. There is no fashion souls, because you cannot choose equipment that you're gonna go with. Instead, you have 8 heroes and you have skins for them. So since you cannot really roleplay, you cannot really actually just try to mess around, and you are limited to certain archetypes, then there is a chance, or according at least from the perspective of my girlfriend, there is she looks at it and she's like, won't that be boring within few weeks?
No.
You think so? It won't be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
No,
it
I
would
don't
be.
think so. No, I don't think so.
No.
Character creation isn't everything. People get into heroes. Look at Overwatch. Look at all these hero-based games. People love that shit. They love characters.
It will get old, but not because of character creation.
I think it's. I
You might be right.
I think Oro has a good point there, but the whole point of a roguelike is to create a situation where you're not completely in control, and improvisation is everything. These games, if done correctly, which we don't know if it will be done correctly, but these games build their longevity on creating diverse and fascinating runs, whether those are you on the on the back foot, you always struggling, or you becoming like a god of death for a few moments. So that aspect of it that you just talked about, Steel, that's a very different type of player. All right, these things don't necessarily interact in the same way. That's why I think it's important that we look at Elden Ring and Nightreign as what it is instead of what we want out of it.
Okay, but like you mentioned that, like, you know, like one of the huge aspects of Elden Ring and overall these games is just ability to make every run somewhat different. And now when I think about Nightreign, considering the fact like it is actually like it is procedurally generated to some extent, but still you're limited to certain archetypes of the characters. It's PvE only. There is no PvP aspect. So like,
yeah,
I kind of imagine meta developing relatively quick, honestly. I mean, like, you know, like it's you basically. What the gameplay loop is like, you are going through the map for 3 in-game days. These days lasts from like 10 to 15 minutes, something around that. After that, you are able to choose, as far as I understand, a final boss of the run, one of 8 of them, and then you fight the boss. So like
you simply ignored everything that a roguelike is there, Steel.
Okay, so
you have to mention all of the different equipment that you can find. You'll find you have to find your weapon, you have to find your armor, and all of these different equipment.
Wait. You don't find your armor though in Nightreign.
Yeah, you don't have armors.
Can we just stop there for like 1 second? Would everyone here like prefer if you could find different armors and, you know, tap into the library of what FromSoft has made armor-wise and be able to utilize that in Nightreign? Would you guys prefer it that way, or do you think you would prefer it as you just get a skin for your character and that's it?
I mean,
I prefer the armor.
running around at 50 miles per second as Howl would be very funny, if you ask me. I would like that, yes.
But
if I could choose my own armor, I would vastly prefer that, actually, yes. And so maybe you'll just have like a headpiece that you always have to have, or not even that. I would vastly prefer it. Maybe certain characters couldn't wear certain heavy armor types, but yeah, no, vastly prefer picking my own fashion souls.
Okay, so you see, like that's the thing. I'm gonna quickly just finish waifu, and I'm gonna give you the voice.
Okay.
So here is the thing. From that, what we know, everything that you are collecting in Nightreign are weapons. You're gonna have like a different tiers of them. You're gonna have like a common, uncommon, epic, legendary, all this like a typical bullshit. Yeah, just like which going to affect stats. That being said, the weapons itself are not going to have any sort of the stats requirements. Like everyone gonna be able to use everything. We are not having like any tallies because according to the journalists, at least the IGN one, everything that you have is the square with the weapons slots. So you have like a 6 slots for 3 main weapons and 3 offhand weapons. You don't have any sort of the weight limits or anything like that. So ultimately, I would say yes, I actually didn't talk about the let's say like the all these quirks that you have in the roguelikes in the mini, like randomness and so on. But the reason for that is, in my opinion, because these things look in relatively shallow, honestly. Like I don't know about like potential buffs that you're getting and so on, but at least when it comes to like normal collectibles, it seems like we are going to only have regular weapons, shields, and this type of stuff, which is kind of unfortunate, honestly.
I think
I
we're
am-
gonna have to
can I-
see.
You will just have to. I mean, like, yeah, we just don't have much information. What you wanted to say, waifu?
Yeah, a couple of things. So Lost said just moments ago that we have to look at the game for what it is instead of what we want it to be.
Yes.
If we look at it for what it is technically a boss rush with some and random elements with 3 players or 1 player, which, if you think about it, is nothing new. Unless they add some new mechanics or some new things or some new movesets or some new weird stuff to the bosses that they are going to recycle, because they are going to recycle bosses and maybe add a few new ones. Unless they add new things, people are going to say, oh, this is just Elden Ring, but fast. And they're going to get bored of it pretty quickly. And don't even get me started when people start to find out what the meta actually is, what the good stuff is. Because once that starts happening, people are going to pick always the same classes. They're going to look for always the same items, and they're going to go for the same strategy over and over. And this is just PvE. So once you figure out the PvE stuff, it's over. I mean, you see people running around, and what do you see in Elden Ring? Blasphemous Blade, Bloodhound, oh my god, I forgot the name.
Bloodhound stuff.
Bloodhound's Fang,
Ah,
and yeah, and all that shit. And this is gonna be the worst, because they don't even have to consider the fact that the things they're using may not be as good in other parts of the game. For instance, PvP. They're just gonna go with the best things, and they're gonna get bored of it really quickly unless they do challenge runs. Some people are gonna do challenge runs, of course. It's not like the player base is gonna be 0 after a couple of weeks. But if we look at it the way it is right now, I don't see it very promising, to be honest. People are gonna get bored of it really quick.
I think
Okay.
that sounds fair.
I have a massive counterpoint to your argument. So
Tell me.
we know Nightrein's going to be like roguelike. It's going to be like RNG elements. Ideally, it's not going to give you the good weapons every single run, maybe even ever. You know, I hope that, you know, the Blasphemous Blade, Moonveil, you know, OP bullshit equivalents are like really, really rare, you know? I'm excited for the runs where you don't get that stuff and you have to make do with, like, you know, whatever the hell you get, like a shitty axe or something, you know? Like, I think that's where the real fun of this game actually might lie. And the adrenaline of finally getting like something really good, like a Blasphemous Blade Moonveil. Like, if it's actually that rare, that would be cool to have that run. Instead of just people, like you said, maybe going for the same weapons and the same builds. I think that's inevitable, but I hope it's harder. Depending on the loot tables and the RNG of the game, I think that there's a possibility that it's not going to be as bad as you think. But this is something that
I don't
we're
think
just
they're
gonna
gonna
have to
make it
play.
hard, to be honest.
This is something we gotta just wait
I
and
do not
see.
think. I do not think they're gonna make it hard. I think they're gonna set the bar for the difficulty without factoring in the random elements. The difficulty is gonna be regular at the most, and the random elements are gonna make it even easier. They're not gonna make it harder, because the moment the random elements start making the game way too hard, people are gonna complain, and they're gonna have to fix it. And they don't want people to complain or fix stuff.
I'm worried that you're right, but we'll see.
Like I have like one.
They're gonna want.
Mhm.
Sorry, they're gonna want more people to actually want to play the game. And if you have Timmy playing the game, and then the randomness makes it really hard, Timmy is gonna say to Kevin, "Hey, no, you know what? Don't play Nightreign. It's fucking shit, because you play and you only get shit, and you cannot win because you only get shit." They have to get rid of the random element for victories, because if there is randomness in victory, people are gonna say, "Oh no, this game is shit. You only win when the game wants to," and they're not gonna play it. they're not gonna want to recommend it to friends. They actually want people to buy the thing, so the thing gets popular, and the thing makes money, and with money you make new thing, new shiny thing, and so people can keep buying. So they need to secure people to play the game. So they're not gonna make it difficult. The randomness is only gonna make it easier. If you get a shiny Moonveil or a shiny Blasphemous Blade, good for you, buddy. It's gonna be even easier now. And people are gonna get tired of that anyways. They're gonna buy it, yes. They're gonna spend the money, and then they're gonna get tired. And they're gonna keep making games similar to that to make even more money, because let's not forget, this is a company. FromSoft may have nice game design philosophies, but at the end of the day, it's a company, and they just got bought by Sony too, so... I don't know,
Is that
just my 2
confirmed?
cents.
Wait.
That's not entirely correct.
Yeah.
That is
It's besides
definitely
the
not
point.
correct.
I think everything you just
They
said
didn't?
was wrong.
No, they did not. Katakawa got bought out only 10%.
Okay.
Okay.
Strategic investment.
Well, then get
what it is.
rid of the last part anyways, but the point is the same. It's still a company, they still want to make money, and they're gonna keep refining the formula to make the most money and still seem like a company that, oh no, we actually make games for the people that want to play good games. No, we're not out here to make money. No, don't look at me.
I mean,
don't want money.
I wouldn't even go into that territory of talking about business and whatever, like the idea of maximizing the profit. I just want to point out that we are going to have passive, ability, and ultimate per every single character, which technically means you don't even need weapons. Because weapons doesn't have any scaling and so on, unless somewhat they're gonna be affecting the power of your abilities. But I just want to point out all this randomness and potential opportunity to get yourself the Blasphemous Blade or whatever might not even play any part in the run at all, because you might just spam your fucking skill every time it goes off the cooldown.
That would be hysterical.
I think it might depend on how they do the leveling, because from what I understand so far, the leveling system is not like what we have in Elden Ring or other Souls game where you pick your stats in which you want to allocate your level in. In this, apparently, it's just completely linear, and so I think when you level up, you're gonna get more defense, more damage. I think it's gonna be just like that. So whatever you find is going to be more effective, I assume, as you level up.
So you can manually level up in Nightreign, but there's an auto leveling system as well. So I guess if you want to do more intricate stuff, you can.
You have
the
stats.
main thing I want to say.
You sorry, Oro. Do you know by any chance if you have actual stats in the game?
Yes.
Okay, so you have attributes.
Yeah, there's stats.
Okay, all right.
It's the same. I think the exact same stats as Elden Ring.
Okay.
But they're static, right? They're static per class. You can't you can't change what they are.
You can level them up. Yeah.
You can.
But I don't think you can choose what you level up.
Yeah, you can. There's
sure about
auto
that?
level and manual level. Yeah, that's what I read. I don't know if it's true, but it's what I read.
Actually, from what I read, you have the classes and say that you pick, I don't know, a sorcerer, and the sorcerer has low vigor. When you level up, yeah, the sorcerer is gonna get more stats, more vigor, more FP, more stamina, more damage, but you don't get to say, oh no, everything goes into vigor. You can't decide that. That's what I read. You're gonna get
Really?
more,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, that's what I read
but
as well.
you can't say, you can't decide where it goes.
I thought you could.
Also-
That's what I read.
I have
Something-
Mhm.
Something that I want to point out, because we are talking, oh no, I read this, oh no, I read that. As always, do not trust gaming journalists, because, and this is a really minor detail. It's a really minor detail, but it's something that I think I perceived the first time I saw the trailer, and then I read what another journalist said and said, this doesn't really quite add, but one of the journalists said that all the weapons have the same moves as in Elden Ring, right? But if you look at the trailer for 2 seconds, and I think it's playing right now, the way the guy is swinging the greatsword, it's not even remotely close to what it is in Elden Ring.
It is
It's
actually
really different.
It's
So-
the greatsword moveset is from other game. I know that for sure. I just cannot pinpoint which one. Not sure. Because there is a one-handed.
What I do know, it's It's not Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's true. This type of moveset wasn't in Elden Ring, or at least players didn't have access to this moveset. Not sure about monsters.
If I was very curious, we haven't really heard from you, Prod. I was.
I
wondering, what is
wanted
your
to.
take?
I was thinking to actually awake Prod somehow.
Yes.
Well, to be honest, I'm actually really excited about the roguelike elements. I agree that there is a potential for it to get like boring once you discover the meta. Are people going to go straight for like I know they said they have like places where they have set heals. Maybe there are some places that have set higher chances to get better weapons. So it should be interesting, right? Like I think that you will find the funnest runs whenever you have random items that you aren't necessarily sure are the best. I think those are going to be the most entertaining runs. Should be cool to see how the characters' abilities mix with each other. I know there are some that are like, oh, this ability, as soon as somebody does damage, you can use this ability and it doubles the damage that character just did to like the boss or an enemy. I think that's probably what I'm most excited about. And then seeing the weird mix of bosses that are from like other games that are coming to this one. I'm really excited to see how that plays into the story of this
Story.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing that I'm looking for. That all bosses, like I want to fight on Orstein and Smog in the lands between. That will be fun for a couple of times, I guess. And I think that's the most important part, at least for me. I hope they do it right, though. I hope it's not just good old Ornstein, good old Smog, just the way they were in Dark Souls 1, all clunky, slow and shit. It will be really awkward. I think that they will probably tune them a little bit. I hope they do it right, to be honest.
Especially for
And
the
also-
new speed.
And also, I think they should give us room for more players, not just 3. It will be really nice if you could be like 10 players, 15 players.
Oh
fighting
no,
a
you
huge
are
boss.
not going to
Like-
have it just because the game goes to shit. Like when you have too many players in one world, like it's just like unplayable at some point when it comes to like stability of the game. So it's just technical. Like it's
Seamless
not.
also.
Yeah, like Seamless tells that story actually
Seamless
pretty
did
well.
it.
Yeah, they did, and it was working like horse shit. Like when it comes to the stability of the FPS. Having like let's say like more than 8 people in one world, like you might have like a NASA computer, but it's just going to play very poorly. That being said, Prod used a keyword that I wanted to use as a segue: story. So Nightreign is actually some sort of the alternative universe kind of thing, yeah? And whereas none of us is actually like a lore guy of any sort.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Actually, that when I think about it, G is the lore master too. Now I
Yeah, you
realize.
don't call me lore master for no reason.
But that being said, what you think about like as an idea, like the fact like like people are actually somewhat upset about this. The fact like that you have Elden Ring slapped on it, but it apparently is not really related to the Elden Ring on its own like much. It's just using the assets and like the world presented. It doesn't really use like the story itself. Like it's apparently not connected. Like does anyone
I don't
have
give a
any?
fuck, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Anyone gives the fuck?
I think that it will be interesting to see if it's a diverging point in time and everything that happened before the events of Nightreign is going to stay the same. I do think you'll be able to find out a few tidbits about certain characters that we didn't know before, but it's not super important to me.
So you're basically looking at it as a perspective of like it would be multiplayer game. I mean, lore cool and stuff, but you are here for the meat.
Yeah. which is going to be the different runs, finding all of the different various weapons. So I'm the more that we talk about this, the more excited I get. I don't know if you guys played it, but I bought Balatro, and I have been like addicted to that game to the point where I have it both on the PC and the and the phone, and just doing different run after run after run, finding different cards, building different builds. It's been super fucking exciting for me.
And you simply wish that Nightreign is going to have similar type of feeling to it.
So, but yes, Balatro is an interesting one though, because it's a card game, so it's a turn-based thing. So adding different and crazy attributes to different cards is the name of the game. Will the developers of Nightreign be able to create such a large amount of diverse and powerful items? That's the question. You have a ultimate and you have a skill. Those are going to be very important because I think that your different weapons and the different special items that you will find in the game are going to modify both your, ultimate and your skill in different ways. So, but will it play differently? How great is the effect? That's really the question that it comes down to for me. The greatness of the effect, and connected with that, how much of a variety will there actually be in the weapons and builds and such. So who knows at this point.
Do you guys imagine, even like from that what we know about the game, even like potential concept in which PvP could be involved in it? Like
in
Elden Ring
Nightreign.
format.
Yeah, in Nightreign. Can you imagine even any sort of the concept of PvP?
Well, yes. 3 versus 3. In a huge ass map looking for resources.
Okay, but like,
I mean,
what would be objective in such case?
Seems like a
You
battle
find other
royale.
people.
Kill the other team.
Like, I mean, like, okay, but like the concept of the game is to fight the big boss. So like, what's an idea here? Like, do we even have like games of this type where you have like, for example, two teams that essentially just like going for like against each other's throat, and then ultimate goal is to kill some sort of the boss? I don't think there is like even concept of this type.
There are
I
a
think
few
Destiny
different.
had a multiplayer mode like that.
Destiny Gambit for sure.
Yeah.
Sort of like
Okay,
that.
I am not aware of that. Guys, tell me about it.
I
mean,
think there
it's-
was a concept of like 2 teams would go into a world, fight a bunch of enemies to eventually fight a boss, but then there would be a portal that opens up on each team that you could invade and then go into the other world as like a powerful enemy and try to kill them. I think that's how it worked.
Okay, but it's like as a powerful enemy, so you are not engaging as
No, but
as
you would
your
be like
character.
you with your guns. You would just be stronger.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, the boosted invader, one could say. So like there are essentially like concepts that actually are somewhat like could work, you think, in Elden in the Nightreign.
If you wanted to go that specific direction, there is a game that didn't do too well, but I think you and me, we played it, Prod. It was called Hood, Outlaws and Legends.
Oh,
and
dude, that game was so good.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, but it crashed and burned. It had like 56 players last time I checked, or something like that.
What's that, Jim?
Yeah, the thing of it, what you were supposed to do is that you and another team were competing in finding a sheriff, taking his key, getting treasure, and then escaping. And that's certainly something that we don't see enough of. I think there might be a couple of games that are currently being developed with that type of system in it. If you wanted to, I could certainly see Nightreign having somebody mod something similar into Nightreign, but it would be a mod more than anything. For Nightreign, adding any sort of PvP, I think, is counterproductive, because the aspects that makes a roguelike interesting do not lend itself very well to a PvP session. Imagine having
I would say
run.
otherwise, actually.
I'm not
No.
so sure about that.
Yeah,
Imagine having a run where you're running around finding random gear and then an invader comes in and he has like a super duper great weapon and then immediately kills you. I don't think that would be great for morale for replayability.
There's 1,000 ways to introduce that.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to have like discrepancy in gear and everything, but
on top of that, it's not like you are just dying in that game. Yeah, like if you are going to die during the daytime, you are actually spawning, and if you are going to die during the night time, then if you are not playing solo, then your teammates can actually pick you up.
I wouldn't be against that type of gameplay, but I don't think it would fit into the roguelike genre. I think it would be transforming the game to the point where, while the same, battle royale systems might be involved, I don't think it lends itself well to roguelikes.
I think the issue here is that
you liked when we played Dark and Darker, right, boss? With Steel and I.
Oh well, certainly, but that's not a roguelike.
Yeah, but I mean,
but it has aspects of roguelikes pretty much.
Yeah,
like you could say so. Like
I would suck Miyazaki's dick if we got a Dark and Darker version of Elden Ring.
Well, you do without that,
I would suck on his penis if he asked me to for any reason. But yeah, Look, I have some fantastic moments in Dark and Darker. It can be an incredible experience. Yes, but I would hardly call it a roguelike.
Okay, but I would actually just go against it and just say that if the idea of the roguelikes is to make non-repetitive kind of gameplay loop, then like there is no better to do that than to introduce other players to the equation.
Yeah, but the way this game handles it would just be terrible. Even me wanting to put invasions and PvP in every fucking game I'm gonna veto putting PvP in this roguelike version of Elden Ring we're getting. Like no shot should Nightreign have invasions. It just doesn't make sense.
Instead of like invasion system,
invasions don't make sense.
They do an update and they go, all right, we're gonna do a playlist and we're gonna try a BR, and it's like 12v12, and they have the same system, random gear,
now we're talking,
random armor, all the abilities. I think that would be the best option for this game.
I'm on board. Probably on board.
Yeah, I think it would be honestly funny, but it would be horrendous to play. Like, if you are looking at the abilities in this game, in the trailer, you have the guy going into the fucking air, picking at others, like grapple hooks. Like, can you imagine the fucking death things that would be happening? Because you have these abilities now that actually allow you to combo like onto one enemy with your friends. That would be fucking. That would be such a shit fest.
Well, to be fair,
that's where FromSoft should implement.
Sorry, let me
servers.
just
better netcode.
Sure.
So let me just get that straight really quickly. Like, you can absolutely make a game with like tons of cool and flashy abilities, because when people are going to be listening to this, they're going to be thinking that everyone here is like closed-minded to the idea of like having new abilities to play a part in PvP. But that's not what's going on here. Like, the problem is that Nightreign is not going to have like any focus on PvP. So if PvP was to come at some point, there still wouldn't really be like any balanced focus on it, just like what we have with Elden Ring. But on top of that, you'd have the problem of dealing with like all these new crazy like movement, Ash of Wars and everything, and the increased movement of sprinting speed that would just completely destroy like any sort of semblance of balance. That's the actual issue. It's not that you can't make a game work with those. That's not the issue. It's that From Software has never really shown that they have the they have the will to balance any of that stuff.
Well,
yeah, I agree.
It's not even like a will to balance. They ultimately just like From Software has a huge issue with communicating. Honestly, like this is the biggest problem. Like communicating with the community is just so fucking awful. And
a counter argument, Dark Souls 2.
You think Dark Souls 2 balance is perfect? Bro, you can turtle with a shield and fucking...
No,
yeah, man,
but it's
not
much
better.
I mean,
any other game.
I would... okay, so counter-argument Dark Souls 2. I would say it still took them absolute fucking ages to adjust the soul memory. It took them fucking ages to introduce a gape ring.
I mean, even then, it still doesn't fix the problem. It's just a band-aid fix.
Yeah. And like point being, like I would say even like a Dark Souls 2 was closest to what we had to like a game that was truly focused on the multiplayer. There were problems. Like, you know, like I would say we never had situation when From Software was just actively fixing things just like that. Like, it's, you know, like when I am looking at other studios, like problem is that like I'm thinking here mostly about studios from the West. Yeah, maybe it's just a matter of like, you know, the way how like Japanese companies being orchestrated or whatever. But point being, like in, let's say there is a bug in certain game, let's say like even like League of Legends, yeah, you have like developers sitting there on Twitter that you can just send at and they are going to literally answer to you in the real time. Like, you are never going to have and never had anything like that with Dark Souls games, and that's kind of like unfortunate. Yeah, it just ultimately that lack of the communication is probably the source of many frustrations of ours when it comes to the balance of the game. And that's why, like, essentially would never be able to actually like trust From Software to make actually balanced game in that order, because they are not really cooperating with the community in the like a live way.
That's fair. That's fair. And let me say that I agree with G9. Dark Souls 2 is definitely not perfect. There's a bunch of OP shit, but I still think it's the closest they've gotten to actually listening to the community and actually trying their best to balance out the game.
Dark Souls 2 or 3, actually. Because like Dark Souls 3 is also in pretty good state nowadays, no? I think.
No.
No, that thing is awful. Oh,
Bro,
no.
Dark Souls 3 is
No.
like the fucking... But
I'm not talking
They were-
about glitches, just in case. I'm not talking about bow glitching. I'm not
Like
talking about
competitive
refill.
stuff, right?
I mean, PK, Murky, fucking Soul Mass,
Yeah, yeah.
Expo, that shit's honestly, balance wise, when it comes to like broken stuff, I'd rather deal with the broken stuff in Elden Ring, honestly.
Okay.
Just because in
think
Dark
that's
Souls 3,
fair.
if you fight like someone who knows like what the fuck they're doing, it's PK Murky. It's PK Murky, or just, you know, maybe crossbow. That's it.
Okay. So like I stumbled upon one of your videos, G, where you actually was talking about it, and like I'm quoting you. When you think about it, Dark Souls 3 is actually not that bad. Not that bad. There is like a PK, there is Murky, but besides that, like things are actually looking not bad at the given moment. So this is pretty much like, you know, the quote
Well,
from
I mean,
one
it's
of your
pretty
videos.
in line with what I just said, PK Murky.
But like this is only it. Like, it's not like basically every second thing is just completely fucking utter broken and the game is in the horrible state, no?
Well, I mean, it's like that with every Souls game.
Okay.
Like, that's why we stick to it. Like, not everything is completely broken. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like all Souls games, like, yeah, the balance is bad, but it's not like that bad, you know? Like, it's bad enough so that we complain about it, but it's not bad enough so that we leave forever.
I would say that Elden Ring is pretty horrendous.
It's not great.
It's Elden Ring.
I'm gonna say something else too. I'm gonna say that you guys have a very skewed perspective, okay? Like, especially G9 talking about like the 1% of like god gamers who like sweat their dick off and try their best to win in these games. Like, obviously it's always gonna boil down to like one or two fucking things and it's gonna be miserable. But like 99% of players, they're never gonna experience that shit. Like, they're never gonna have to deal with this level of pain, honestly, because they probably don't even invade.
Unless I invade them.
Unless you invade them, and then they'll definitely experience it.
Well, thankfully they are not going to be invaded in Elden Ring because we got consensual PvP in that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
That's all.
But yeah, I'm actually like thinking about like that's we are going so off the rail, but like I'm actually thinking about like when it comes to Dark Souls 2, what is currently broken? Like I would say that there is actually probably more broken things in Dark Souls 2 than it is in
Shields.
Its shields are absurdly broken.
I mean, rapiers seem pretty dominant. no
Ice
matter how you
rapier,
play
like,
rapiers
it's
for sure.
overtuned like fucking crazy. Warped sword is overtuned as fucking crazy, especially in the setup.
the no backstab gear. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know
just
if I would call it
armor.
broken, but it's just,
That's
you know, it's not good for the
Fundamentally
game.
changes the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, but overall, that's
I think it's also funny that offhand rapier is not only the best offhand thing you can have, it's also the best, but one of the best parry tools you can have, because I believe that the offhand rapier has like 14 frames.
Honestly, like the Dark Souls 2 in that regard, like gives you a lot of variety. Honestly, like every single tool actually is somewhat viable in order to actually use it as the parrying tool or whatever. Like even like Biga's greatsword, yeah, can be used actually for that. But yeah, like we are going completely off the rail. Holy shit!
Yeah, a little bit.
We're talking about Dark Souls 2 PvP.
We are actually.
How did we get here?
My fault. It's my fault.
I think we just really
sorry.
miss it, man. We
Yeah.
just
I
really
really
miss
miss it.
Dark
I
Souls
really
2
miss it.
PvP days.
Well, honestly, I actually still play it. Like after all these years, I am still coming back to Dark Souls 2. And when I'm playing Elden Ring, I am like one guy appears in my invasions with fucking sword shield. Sword shield, the thrusting shield. And I am losing my mind. I am tilted to the fucking Oblivion. I pick up fucking clean rod with the greases and just try to poison the guy for the next fucking 5 minutes. And I just, after that, I feel like shit and I want to turn off the game. And then I play Dark Souls 2 and I am fucking zen. I invade for 5 hours straight and I feel calm. It's nice. It feels
It's
like
a much better average experience, I think.
I wouldn't call it like exactly better experience in that regard, because like I am not a fan of invading people that are on minus 50% HP when they are fully hollowed.
I am.
And like I actually I am absolutely not a fan of that when it comes to that regard. I actually prefer Elden Ring, as if like the co-op is being prioritized, and artificially the difficulty of the invasions is just higher. But when it comes to the salt factor, dude, Dark Souls 2 is so comfy. It feels
Nothing
so
like
nice.
invading a hollow, half health going, fat rolling, crawling to be no man's worth. It's the best thing in the whole damn world.
That's fucked up. No, the thing I like about Dark Souls 2 is when people roll and I fucking hit them, I actually fucking hit them. That's the best thing in the goddamn universe. And no other game has that in the whole series.
Wait, what you mean? Like the roll catching? You mean
Yeah.
that?
Well, yeah, if you roll catch someone in Dark Souls 2, you're gonna hit them.
Yeah, but
You know, unless they have
But-
99 adaptability, you're gonna actually land the hit.
technically,
no matter what.
there is a one problem with that though. Like very often you hit them for all the wrong reasons because of the dashing. Because you walked into their model, so like their model is in different position to where they are on their screen, and you
Don't
roll.
take this away from me.
Okay. all right, yeah. Dark Souls 2 is perfect. Okay, I give you that.
Much better, thank you.
All right, so honestly, like since we are derailing so much and like there is really not that much to talk about Nightreign, unless someone wants to bring something like about Nightreign right now. Is there like any sort of the topic someone wants to touch? Because on the notepad on the side, I literally have our first impressions and opinions, which we expressed, and the other one is the meme topic, which is Elden Ring Nightreign PvP scene. Very serious discussion.
Yeah.
We are kind of out of the topic right now. We actually talked about our first impressions of the Nightreign. When it comes to PvP, like there's really like nothing to talk about. Is there anything anyone wants to touch in regards of Nightreign, or like take the opportunity of the fact that there's 6 of us on one
Yes.
call and ask about something?
Yes.
Yes. Which platform are you guys getting Nightreign on before we talk about Oblivion?
So I actually I was about to ask you all, because I want to get everyone on legitimately on one platform, and it's gonna be just like the easiest
PC?
for everyone. And
Yeah, probably PC, honestly.
I would say probably PC is the best choice. Like, the only reason why PC could be like an issue is if you are going to have the same garbage netcode bullshittery from the
Imagine 2-minute disconnect.
2 minutes. Yeah, like for
baby.
it was a while, so maybe like I'm going to quickly explain to people that are not aware. At the release of Elden Ring on the PC, there was an issue related to authentication of the anti-cheat, which caused the game to disconnect players from the session after 2 minutes. It was very consistent.
It was very funny.
Well, it was especially funny if you was playing on PlayStation and never had these issues, and then was looking at the fucking plebs on the PC just literally struggling. That was definitely funny, but like it was such a god awful experience. Like it wasn't like every single invasion, but it was very, very, very consistent occurrence. And on top of that, this timer was disconnecting everyone on from the session, no matter who is about to join. If the authentication process would fail onto the hunter that joined the session after it was ongoing for 5 minutes, then exactly 7 minutes into the invasion, everyone is going to disconnect from that session. At least that shit is going to be out of the window because there is no one that is actively joining the session, yeah? You're actually starting as a either like a solo player or 3-man squad. But god fucking damn it, if we are going to have these issues on the PC again, it's gonna be fucking awful. Otherwise, PC is probably the best option.
I don't think so.
Otherwise, PC is probably the best option because of mods, yeah? Like, at the very least. Like, not only like the ability to just play on high FPS and with the maxed out graphics, but also especially like the mods.
They are focusing on multiplayer this time, so if they fuck it up this time, then we can claim for sure that they are kind of incompetent. But I think the reason for that 2-minute disconnect before was because, as everyone points out every time, multiplayer in Elden Ring is an afterthought. So I think it's gonna be better this time.
I honestly disagree with that opinion. Like that overall, that the PvP or like multiplayer co-op or whatever is afterthought in these games. Like they are actually, I would say like they are just part of it and that's it. It's just the part of it that they are doing wars.
I have partaken in the act of huffing copium.
I mean, like, we have, like, multiplayer in these games since fucking Demon Souls. I would say it's far-fetched to say, like, this is the afterthought. Like, they are literally, like, the first Demon Souls trailer implements multiplayer aspect of co-op, like, very clearly into the gameplay loop. And pretty much every single Souls game does the same. Like, Dark Souls 2 literally, like, very heavily focused on the multiplayer. Dark Souls 3 turned out to have, basically, for many people, the best multiplayer experience overall. And the longevity of the multiplayer in Dark Souls 3 was, well, like, it was quite something. Like, people were doing like content in this game for many years, and that content was doing insanely good numbers.
Elden Ring was a step back.
And yeah, like, I would say Elden Ring, like, I wouldn't call it like afterthought. I would call it like unfortunate. Yeah, I would call it like a step back that was somewhat planned, but they are just poorly executed it. Because I actually have that one article from Fextra Live page. There was like, how that's called, the interview with
with in the codes.
Yeah, exactly. And Miyazaki was giving interview about that, and he basically said that the idea of Elden Ring is simplification of the multiplayer aspects of the game. That they want to simplify the way how you interact with multiplayer. Essentially, I would say they just fucked up on their job, like, by doing so, honestly. I think they just
they did a pretty shitty job, to be honest.
Like,
if they want to simplify how people interact with the multiplayer, then don't make it so fucking confusing for new players. Because if you ask the average Elden Ring player, hey, what are the conditions to matchmake with someone, they have no fucking clue.
Well, this is actually, how often, guys, okay, like, I think every single time I end up uploading a video where I am doing like some sort of hosting and there is 2 invaders in my world, I am getting at least few comments asking how I did it. Like, in the meaning that how is that possible? There is 2 invaders in my world. So yeah, like, this is actually true. Like, it is not as clear as I think like From Software wanted it to be.
I mean, you could forgive them in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, but on Elden Ring, which was supposedly going to be super massive, they could have done a better job at implementing, a system that people could at least look into it within the game and not have to resort to fucking Google to see how can they match with other players. But since they added the password thing, they don't have to worry, because most people would just play with their friends on the password, and that's it. Same for the Colosseum. They don't need to know, because again, most don't care about the PvP, and since they don't care, they didn't even bother to say, hey, if you want to invade certain people, you have to do this and that. No, they didn't. They don't give a shit.
What you wanted to say, Lost?
Oh, I think it's unfair to say that they don't give a shit. Granted, I do not think that they did a good job with a lot of the things we just talked about, but I would just wanted to piggyback off of something you said, Steel, and that I do not think it's an afterthought. I think that it's better to say that the scope of multiplayer for Elden Ring and any of the Souls games is limited, and that is a little unfortunate given that we can all see the amazing potential a PvP focused game from Software has, but I do think that they think about this to the extent that we have something we want to do and we don't really focus more on it. If it's an afterthought, it would seem to be something that is tacked on at the end there, and we don't really care about it. I think they care about it as much as they want to care about it.
I don't think
Yeah, I
the PvP, man. It's just like the problem isn't scope. Like it's always a few frames or a few numbers off. Like it's not a matter of like big changes to fix a lot of that stuff. It's just lack of understanding of the game because it's always a few frames shy. You know, a few values off here and there. It's like, you know, why is dueling shield like so broken? Well, I mean, it doesn't take enough stamina damage. It's like, why is this too strong like back in blade? Well, it does too much damage. Like it takes literally like 5 minutes to go in there and change some values. It's not a matter of like
But those
how
things
much
mean
effort.
nothing to the average player.
I mean, it
Those
does.
things
Like
mean
Swift
nothing to the
Slash.
average player.
Oh yeah, of course it does. Like Swift Slash fucking when it came out after the DLC, like, you know, it was on Reddit too. Like it
That's
was
an extreme
wasn't
example.
just the PvEers. Well, I mean, it's an extreme
Yes,
example.
I
It's
do
still
get
what
what
From
you say.
Software has pulled out.
I do get what you say, but there are some extreme examples like Swift Flash, which everyone could see was absolutely fucking broken. But there are some things that the average player doesn't see or doesn't get. If the Starfist does too much damage, they don't know because they cannot differentiate. If the shield, if the dueling shield is fucking broken because of it takes too little stamina damage, it deals too much damage in shield, they may not
Yeah,
even
but what are you
notice. They
talking
might
about?
not. They may not even realize.
What are you
What I'm
talking? We're
trying to
talking
say
about From
is
Software.
that yes, exactly. What I'm trying to say is that they should do better things to introduce people to the PvP, and they should start with actually telling them how to engage with it. You know, the matchmaking ranges, weapon levels, those stuff. They should start from there, and they're not even doing that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't balance the thing you're saying. Of course they should. They fucking should, of course. But if we want to start having new people in PvP, tell them how to PvP, and the game doesn't do that. That's what they should. That's where
Technically,
they
it
should start.
does.
That's
So,
what I mean.
like, technically, you have like here is the thing: you have introduction to the PvP in Elden Ring, literally through the fucking quest line. Like, you have NPC that tells you, "Hey, go invade."
Let's just rewind here. Like when Elden Ring came out, the game was in the shittiest state. You could get one shot by invisible spells over your head. Like there was so many. Like you could one shot someone with 1 Rivers of Blood Ash. Like it's clear that there's, you know, no understanding of this game that goes like into any of this. Like there's no PvP understanding whatsoever. It's not a matter of like, oh, you know, From Soft does this, that. No, they're PvEers, just like the people that play these games, and they don't understand shit about the PvP side. That's the bottom line. So they rely on us to tell them what to do, and every progress that we make, every single patches, it's always related to some sort of feedback somewhere, like whether it be like the website that Gabri made at some point, some of those viral vids that content creators like you guys make. It's always something like that that pushes the PvP in the right direction. I don't think FromSoft deserves that sort of like, oh yeah, they're just it's out of their scope, or it's no, they just don't understand. They're casuals. Miyazaki's a casual. I mean, it's been said many times in an interview, like, you know, they test the bosses, see if they're too hard. If Miyazaki can beat them, all right, they greenlight it. If they can't beat them, that means it's too hard. And there's nothing wrong with being a casuals, but that's just what it is.
Prot, you actually wanted to say something, and I was waiting so you could finally get to the voice.
Did I?
Yeah, you already forgot. Yeah, that's why you have to get into the talk. You have to push yourself in, man.
I think we're talking about balancing, and I actually do think like Elden Ring. I know people give it a lot of shit, but I do think they have done a lot for PvP. I do think they care. Adding like Wex Dust is a massive thing. Balancing here and there, is a big issue. But separating PvP and PvE balancing and having PvP have its own, updates, and they clearly care for sure. But it's never going to be their first priority because as much as we all love PvP, at the end of the day, probably like 20% of us are going to play PvP.
You mean of
Like
total
ever at
player?
all. And you're right, and it is because it
Probably
is
less, honestly.
kind of like very hard to know, right, what to do, where to invade, and stuff like that. So I do think they
That's
could
my
have
point
streamlined
exactly.
that
Yes.
a little bit better for sure. But at the end of the day, most people are still not going to go in and do PvP more than once or twice or do invasions.
Also, everything you mentioned is because of community feedback. Like the whole Wex Dust, all these changes that you mentioned, it's all from community
Yeah,
feedback.
but that's
None
what I'm
of
saying,
them,
right?
like
that
none of
means
these changes were
they do
from
definitely
self
listen to
ideas.
the community.
What is this entire topic stemming from? Like, there is an argument of like, if PvP and multiplayer overall is afterthought or not. Yeah, I would say honestly, which is kind of heartbreaking to me, but I just truly believe in From Software incompetence in the matter, which
It's clear they don't know what they're doing. Like, let's be honest here. Like, they really don't know what they're doing PvP wise. They know what they're doing with
Yeah,
the
they don't
bosses
know.
when they create movesets and everything. But PvP, they don't PvP. They don't know how it works. They don't know why it's even popular. They don't know anything about it. They just follow whatever we ask them to do when we do. And that's it. It stops there.
I honestly, about the PvE though, aesthetically, sure. Like, the design of the bosses and so on is always so nice and on point. But PvE also has outrageously fucking ridiculous issues. I mean, like, you can cheese literally every boss in this game with Endure Starfist besides Malenia. Like, it also is very prone to be abused because of the shit balance. And very often it is also related to literally the same issues, which is straight up like From Software cannot into numbers. So like, I would say actually honestly, even PvE suffers a lot from like From Software having some sort of just like trouble just maintaining these games, I would say. Like it's especially bad with Elden Ring, because at least in the past there was some sort of the communication, because you had at least the freaking community managers, and now you don't even have that, because community manager is actually a fucking ninja that hides from everyone and like only eventually answers to emails from like, I don't know, maybe a few content creators, and that's about it. So like, which is like, we have Oro here and probably Vati and I don't know who else. Like, Prod, did you ever like talk to the community manager of Elden Ring?
Maybe I don't really
Okay, you don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Dark Souls 3 got entire like tables for the multiplayer matchmaking, as far as I know. Like Dark Souls 2, I don't remember what was that, but also we had like a guy that was actually like a community manager, and you could always message him on Twitter, and he was like keen to actually explain stuff or like share some information with From Software and so on, yeah? And like Elden Ring is just like, you have fucking nothing in that regard. Like, not even a single individual that you can message. You have to go through the Bandai's contact page to complain about some shit, and they are usually going to send you back some sort of the pre-made text, yeah? And that's about it. So I would say, like, legitimately, like, the biggest issue when it comes to the multiplayer aspect of the game, when it comes to From Software, stems from the same issue that is occurring for more than 10 years, and it is just lack of the communication with the community. They are trying to get some feedback, since this is not communication, like direct communication. It's more like just them having someone that is just gathering some info, and after that, from soft employees apparently just getting like a pile of it, and then someone has to review it. Everything is so fucking like pointlessly firewalled behind like billion different fucking people, instead of just having opportunity to just talk to developers directly. I mean, like, there is like a funny stuff like about From Software. Like, some people from the mod community were actually looking through From Software pages to look for English speaking employees of From Software to talk to inform about vulnerabilities of
RCE?
a matchmaking server. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like this is so unfortunate, which honestly makes me a little bit worried about Nightreign overall, because it's actually multiplayer focused, or maybe it's gonna be opposed. Maybe we're finally gonna get actually proper like contact with at least some devs. You will be able to message on Twitter or whatever about, but because like if that's going to be a multiplayer focused game, yet we are going to have literally no way to contact the developers as a community, it's gonna be kind of rough, methinks.
But one interesting thing with the recent buildup of Sony doing a strategic partnership with Kadokawa is maybe in the future there's going to be a bigger role that Sony is going to play into the publishing. I don't know if they could serve as some sort of tunnel to get some information to FromSoft. I have no idea, but you never know.
If that's just a strategical investment, then probably not. But
well, strategical investment means that they probably will have publishing deals.
Well, it's probably not. They are not going to operate like, you know, this type of stuff, though, most likely.
Well, you say that, but Bandai Namco currently is the one you send ticket to when you have a problem. So the publishing company does have a big part in the play of like, who do you contact if you have an issue? So if it's not Bandai Namco and it's Sony, you never know. Maybe you're going to have more leverage to.
Okay. So you are saying that maybe they are going to be more competent at informing From Software or something.
Well, I mean, it can't be worse than Bandai. That's
okay. Yo, this is such a shade, though. I mean, like, we technically don't know if the problem is on Bandai Namco side, yeah? Like, we actually...
Well, I realized that it is when I got a message from Gabri, like, telling me that the fucking guy told me to, like, fucking stop telling people to send them tickets because they fucking hate it and they considered it as, like, a spam attack.
Right.
Excuse me, what?
Yes, there was a situation like that. Can you actually share a little bit more?
When I made a feedback vid, one of the first ones where it was like, you know, it got a decent viewership, Bandai basically complained to the only outlet that they had, which was Gabri. Gabri had a link with one of the Bandai employee there, like one of the person responsible for that. And he basically told me that they asked them to ask me to, like, you know, tell people to stop sending tickets because they were receiving too many tickets and they considered it like some sort of spam attack. So it's like if you can't even like get basic message across when the community like rallies up together and it's perceived as like an attack as opposed to like the community wanting something and being attached to the game or decision about the game, then I mean the publishing company is not really doing you any favor there. So yeah, Bandai bad basically.
Bandai bad.
Okay, I'm gonna be the Bandai defender here.
I mean, of course you are. You just want to get invited to these other events.
Not
like,
just because they let me fly on the helicopter. All right, I'm gonna fly.
Keep defending fucking FromSoft and Bandai with these fucking shitty decisions.
All right.
Let's listen to the defense.
You work on the Elden Ring guide and try to talk to From Software and then get fucking back to me that it's not their fucking fault. Seriously.
Wait, what? Again.
So obviously,
I didn't catch that.
I helped write the official Elden Ring guide, and we had a direct line of communication with From Software, and that direct line of communication was so hard to get any information, to get any piece of anything that we needed. That I can't imagine that Bandai Namco had any better of a time, because we certainly did not.
Like, can you?
For sure, I believe you.
Can you like bring an example, or this is like NDA? You're still under NDA.
No, it's not NDA. I asked them for poise values and scaling for weapon arts, and it was a month later they got back to me, and their answer was. No, but you know, we have them, but you can't have them.
We know that you are making official guide, but
I'm
listen.
writing the guide for the game.
This is
It
actually
took a month for them to be like, nah.
Oh, this,
Yeah.
yeah, this is actually so funny.
This is the company we are putting our trust in.
Legitimately, they were
Holy
like,
shit.
we don't want to do that. And I was like, but we have to fucking make a guide.
Oh man.
So
Well, to
that's a
be
real
fair, it's
story.
probably very low in their priority though. And you have to like ask someone there to like do something. Whereas like it's the same thing with feedback. It's just that they don't really need to reply to you or anything.
100%. That's it. They really don't care. They were just like, do the damn guide. You know, you got the game. Just figure it out. You know, you got the debug menu. Just press buttons. You know.
Oh, you actually had access to the debug menu? Like,
Yeah, we had to.
okay. All right, that's cool. Like when actually, yeah, we can talk about it actually. Like when I and G were helping with Lords of the Fallen, we also had all these things. And honestly, like figuring these things out on your own, even though you have access to all these tools, is just so hard. Honestly, like you kind of have to understand the game from the ground up, and you would have to actually spend literally months playing it and playtesting it in order
it's
to do
horrible.
so. Yeah, like
Elden Ring guide. Use Blastrum of Blade. Press L2. Win. Buy the next game.
honestly, like if that would be the line from the guide, it would be pretty accurate in many aspects. It's kind of unfortunate. Just
I think FromSoft is just a little funny with this stuff. You know, I think they do mean well. I really think they mean well. They're just funny with with everything. You know, they're hard to talk to.
You get to talk to them.
you at least can talk to them.
Be careful what you wish for.
Hey Miyazaki, you know that thing I was willing to do to you? It still stands if you just talk. Communicate a bit.
Let's communicate about important things. Last year with the offer, yes.
Oh, speaking of important things, I actually made a mistake earlier when I told you guys that there's no official confirmation for Oblivion. There actually is in the court cases for, I believe, buying Activision, like the Microsoft case. There has been court document which showed that it showed all the list of like all the titles that are currently in development, like under Microsoft, and Oblivion Remaster was one of them, as well as Fallout 3 Remaster.
Oh shit.
So there you go.
Okay, so because this is actually something that going to be only on the live stream and not gonna be in the podcast itself because the podcast started later, G brought us information about Elder Scrolls Oblivion, like being apparently remastered, like officially, not through any sort of the mod or whatever. Like there is actually apparently the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster coming. And apparently this is not like official information, but everything suggests that actually it's happening. Remake or remaster? In the chat, Tarnish Elden King said that like he thought it was a remake. Think about like overall the use of the words remake or remaster is nowadays is kind of like people don't care.
Well, I can chime
honestly.
in from what I've seen with the vids regarding that. Apparently, that's not official. That's the non-official part from leakers. What they're doing is it's a virtual studio, which is a studio in Paris, I believe. And what they're doing is they're taking the sort of rendering engine aspect of Oblivion and putting that into UE5 and keeping all the gameplay related stuff and keeping that in the old engine. That's my understanding of it. And so they have this sort of like hybrid engine where it takes like the UE visuals with the old way of like handling gameplay. So I don't know, like to me that doesn't sound very good.
Are we
That's
speaking?
what I heard.
Is it like Demon Souls remake, basically?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Actually,
That's what it sounds like.
wait. Demon Souls remake actually using also like this method of actually rendering in different engine?
Well, I don't know exactly,
Because-
but the end result is we get the exact same mechanics to a T with like extremely higher visual fidelity, basically. That's
Yeah,
the
like
end product.
that's actually like that's something that I am curious about because I thought like when it comes to the Demon Souls, like it was actually entirely made on the old engine. They just somehow pulled it off.
No, it's not brand new. Like I've seen I don't know if it was a GDC presentation, but they talked about how they had to like adapt the code to like their new like structure or something like that. Like they had to figure out like a way to make the old code for like the behaviors and everything work with the their modifications.
Okay, I see.
Speaking of Demon Souls here, to be clear.
So like this is basically, but yeah, like this is not like uncommon thing. Like that's actually, there is that game that's called for one, like this is actually super small game. Yeah, okay, maybe not small game in the size, but like a less popular one called Dwarf Fortress, and like it had like a relatively recently, like 2 years ago or so, like a release on Steam that
Love that game.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. That basically has now like a graphical aspect to it, because previously it was written, like the graphical representation was in the ASCII signs. Is that how you call it in English? Like these, yeah. So ASCII, yeah. So like it was all in the ASCII signs, and now it actually has visual representation. And apparently, how it works is, like, you have like separate engine for the visuals that is just running alongside the legacy code of the game. So yeah, like it's honestly that's quite of. I mean, that's cool. What I am like, if we are already on that topic of the Oblivion, that's a podcast about Nightreign, by the way. So about Oblivion, like there is that big project that is ongoing for like 10 years of a mod called Skyblivion, which idea of it is to move the Oblivion to the Skyrim engine, and this mod was ongoing for many years, and it's not like it is in the infinite hiatus or whatever. No, it is actually steadily progressing to the release. It's actually going forward. Dude, I feel so bad for developers of it.
Yeah, and there's actually some really good pros working on Skyblivion. There's a guy that I've been following for years who's a professional color grader, and he's responsible for the lighting for Oblivion, and he's making like a lighting system that follows like really tight like color gradients for both like non-ENB and ENB version. So, I mean, it should look like better than Skyrim.
And now question is, like, if we are going to have situation as if, like, the mod is perhaps going to kill the remake or remaster, or maybe it's gonna be the other way around. Like,
yeah.
you know, like, imagine situation. Like, honestly, we had cases of such in the past, where like the original games were just less played than the mods, but those were mostly multiplayer games. I'm talking here about like a pro mods for example, Quake, or like there was like the special mod for the Call of Duty. That one also was more popular than literally the original game. Well, it's kind of like funny curiosity that we are apparently getting the freaking remaster or remake of the game from 2006 or 2007. I don't remember when Oblivion was released, but
well, we have some Elder Scrolls fan in here. Guys, what do you think about the Elder Scrolls franchise going into more of a direction where they introduce co-op into their single player games? Like, what if you had like a new Elder Scrolls game that released that was still single player but that had some co-op? Remember when they brought Invasion? I don't know about Invasions, but let's just say 76 was not really what people wanted for multiplayer. But would you guys be open to like the possibility of like some co-op mixed in with the Elder Scrolls games?
Very much, yes, very much. I played, I played with Prod. We played the Skyrim Together mod, and we had a ton of fun. And if it can be like less janky and more official, all of that is great. Just add a save where you do that together. Keep like single player saves and multiplayer saves apart, and there you go.
Multiplayer in fucking Elder Scrolls games. Well, we have it. It's called Elder Scrolls Online.
Well, it's not really the same as a co-op experience. That's more of an MMO, right?
Yeah, it is. No, I'm kidding. By the way, this MMO has actually quite in-depth PvP.
They did that with 76 too.
I mean, 76, by the way, like, because I'm not sure what the hell 76 even is. honestly, at this point. Like, is that like a spin-off of the Fallout games? Like, after all, like, what's the idea? Because like it kind of plays completely differently to the Fallout games, no?
It's a mainline game. It's just weird.
It's just weird. Okay, it's just quirky. I got it.
It's quirky. You could say it's a spin-off, but I mean it's the same universe.
Okay.
Everything's canon. It's just really, really weird.
Okay, just very spin-offy gameplay wise.
It's fascinating because they took everything
Just
that
like
the
Nightreign.
they took everything that people enjoyed about the previous games and ripped it out and then inserted nothing.
Some people like it, but I hate it. No.
So like I know for a fact, like I've seen like some sort of the documentary about Fallout 76, and developers left a freaking access to the dev room with everything like accessible in there and stuff. And as far as I understand, like the Fallout 76 is heavily multiplayer focused game, yeah?
Yes.
So that's nice. That's very cool. Like you got your cheat engine left by developers, completely legit for everyone to jump in. Fantastic.
Is Nightreign the Fallout 76 of From Software?
Oh yeah, that was
Oh shit!
Hell yeah, let's go.
Stealing that.
Okay, guys, I think we are slowly gonna be wrapping up. We actually derailed to the point that this train is completely fucking irreparable. It's gone.
We came full circle, you know.
Yeah, we actually started up talking about Oblivion before
We
the
are
podcast.
in the rain, and it's night.
It's indeed. All right, guys. So
Wait.
mm-hmm.
One last thing I must say. I think a lot of you guys need to have a little more faith in From Software. I think that for like literally ever, they have done no wrong. Like they have not fucked up once. They have not missed once. I think this game is going to be fucking great no matter what. I'm excited for it. And I think you should be too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think From Software has
on a
ever done
wholesome
anything
note.
wrong, especially with PvP. They've never done
They-
anything wrong.
everything
gosh,
is
there's
perfect.
no PvP in this game.
Oh,
God.
you're right. Phew.
Thank God.
Yeah, if we ignore PvP, yeah, then FromSoft never did anything wrong.
They're so bad at it, they got rid of it entirely.
Yeah, I mean, like, at least they are honest to themselves. Like, technically, they fixed the problem of PvP to some extent, if you think about it. Prod, how was the VR game? How good it was? Did FromSoft miss on the VR game?
Oh, I played it for like an hour. It was all right. It was cool to look at. That's about it.
God fucking damn it, I really had hope you're gonna, like, ruin
No, I played it
Oro's
for an hour. I
argument.
stared at characters and went, "Oh, cool." That's it.
Did they have like jiggle physics?
Oh.
They did, and you
Oh.
could put bikinis on them too.
Ooh.
In
Ooh.
this game.
I might have played the wrong game.
Are you sure it was the one?
No, I might have played the wrong one.
All right, guys. I guess that's going to about it. And unless someone wants to add something to the discussion about Nightreign that derailed like an hour ago,
Yeah, I want to add PvP.
in the mods, don't worry, you're gonna get it in the mods. All right, then that will be it. Thank you a lot, everyone on
Thank you.
Twitch chat for watching. Thank you a lot to every
Thank
single
you,
of you
Mr.
that
Polishman.
Thank you for joining the podcast. And yeah, we are awaiting the gorgeous game known as Nightreign. Very, very, very. Actually, worth to mention, I am so fucking glad we're actually going to have a game that we will be able to play together and actually do content together from. Like, this is the best part out of all of it. Just the fact that
that's true, to be honest.
like you're gonna be able to just message, hey, Lost, Prod, G, Waifu, Oro, jump in. We're doing trios, and let's jump to the Tilted Towers or whatever is gonna be name of the
Oh yeah.
of the locations. Actually, dude, okay, stop the outro. How I have the additional topic, real quick one. How can you imagine communication in this fucking game if that's like multiplayer focused game, and there is like we can assume there is no ping system, yeah? Like normally if you don't have any sort of the any sort of the ping system, then at least you have a voice chat in the game. Here there won't be a voice chat, or at least the journalist didn't mention anything about the voice chat, and we are probably not getting the ping system.
Well, in this day and age, everyone uses Discord.
I don't know if like third party thing is,
Or like if you're on console, they use whatever chat system that's in that console.
You communicate the same way you have ever communicated in Souls games. You press L1 a bunch of times, and in Elden Ring you can also teabag or jump.
Yeah, they said there's going to be a ping system, like with the map at least.
oh, so they said there will be ping system. I didn't read that part. All right. So that was like just quick question from me. Then maybe like there is nothing to worry about. I guess they thought about that part. Okay. So anyway, thanks a lot again, and I will see you in the next one. So yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We did it.
We did it! We wrapped up the Nightreign podcast that we had like topic for like 30 minutes of talk, and we made it into 2 hours somehow. Jesus fuck.
For me, I didn't want to cut anyone off, which I had to at some point. Sorry, yeah.
No,
I did,
no,
but
that's
I'm sure,
that's
like,
very good.
People like Lost were like super polite, didn't want to interrupt, and people just kept talking. So it would be nice maybe next time to have like a mediator that says like, okay, Lost, what do you think about that? Or what do you think?
Thank you.
I think honestly like we did pretty much fine. Like the only person that was suffering today from like lack of ability to speak much was Prod.
Prod.
Yeah, like Prod was mostly.
I want to hear more from Prod.
Yeah.
It's because he's more
Prod.
polite. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Alright,
what
cool.
he
Delete
gets.
the whole podcast and then let's start over from here.
Okay, let's do it. Hey, welcome, gamers. Let's do it again.
You should bring Yuka's Legion to be a moderator.
Yukas, I haven't talked to Yukas in ages. Like I haven't seen this man in fucking 5 years or so.
Dude, Yukas is the first streamer that I've watched that like I started watching like irregularly, like Souls wise.
Nelson is based. We love Nelson.
What's happening with Nelson nowadays? I know like at some point he just kind of, I don't know, like just the viewership dropped, and at some point he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, good on him though. It's probably more healthy, honestly.
Can you even talk about Nelson or like there is?
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with him.
Okay,
No,
so you don't know too, even though.
I don't keep in touch with anybody anymore. Man.
I see.
I'm just living.
Okay, I see. That's unfortunate.
It's hard out here for a gamer.
Okay. Hard life of the gamer. Gonna have to wake up
We are an
on the
oppressed minority.
podcast, man. I'm coming to the podcast 1 hour earlier, asking if I am not late and going back to sleep. Hard life of a gamer.
Hard life. Hey, I'm sick. All right.
Oh, how you feel, by the way? Because yeah, you sound
like ass.
you sound actually pretty good. Like
Auto acting like
Like-
PVs on speed dial.
yeah, I mean, like when I came to Oro's stream like a few days ago, he sounded fucking terrible. Now at least you sound normal.
Yeah, I'm getting better every day.
Okay, that's glad to hear. We could talk more of the Nightreign, but honestly, there is not that much to talk about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you want to
We're
repeat
stretching
it, after the network test, we'll have all the knowledge that we need to.
Yeah. I
There
mean,
we
we'll get back
fucking
together again
go.
then.
yeah, I mean, podcast after the network test is fucking mandatory. Like there is not even doubt about that. We have to collect and talk and preferably way faster like than we did here, because it took me like a week to collect you at the end of the day. Like
I think all of the important questions will be answered during the network test, because they can't not. It's basically the core of the game, so they will have a good idea of how it's going to turn out.
And do you guys actually have any plans for the network test? Because like some people, like G for one, during Elden Ring network test was doing practically nothing but trying to get the feedback from software.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fix like fucking Estus canceling and all that stuff,
And-
because those were like glitches that were plaguing Dark Souls 3. But I don't think there's going to be any need to do that in Nightreign.
Mhm.
Flashback to the time I said it wasn't in the game because I was really bad at it. I was like, guys, they fixed it. It's not in. Don't worry. And then G9 did it in like 5 seconds.
Mm.
I was like, oh fuck, it is in the game.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I think I'm going to focus on making content on the network test. I'm literally just gonna play the game, and I'm not
yeah,
gonna.
I mean, there's no PvP. There's nothing to really worry about.
I
even if there's
yeah. I
breaking
think
stuff like that.
yeah. So, oh, by the way, important question, because obviously like, you know, there is much to choose from. You all actually playing Network Test on Xbox, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, like
we love an
we
Xbox.
love an Xbox. Yeah.
I lost mine. I don't even know where it is.
Wait, you had an Xbox? Who the
I
fuck
have an
has an
Xbox. I just
Xbox?
don't know where I put it. And honestly, I'm not going to look that hard for it.
Oh man, my girlfriend had a like, genius idea to buy me Xbox on Christmas, so I can play Elden Ring on Xbox. But I think I would have like 5 players to play with if that would
Yeah,
happen.
the same 5 people every stream.
Oh,
Don't mess with Xbox players. They're like 7 and they get really angry.
So yeah, like everyone is on PlayStation, I assume. There is no PlayStation 4, no? It's only PlayStation 5.
Oh no, the game comes out on
On
PS4.
PS4. Yeah.
it's
No.
it's
I'm talking
That's
about network
surprising.
test. I'm talking about. I know that the game comes on the PlayStation
yeah,
4.
I think PS5 only. Yeah.
Yeah, because
For what? For the network test?
right, G. Of course, you probably don't even know. Like there is a
What?
network test page.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked it out yet.
Okay, so the
That's a good
network.
question.
So the signs for the network test starts on the 10th of January, and the network test itself gonna actually conclude somewhere in February. We don't exactly know what date, but yeah, on the 10th of January
Or
we can
what
start
year?
registering. That's a good question. But no, like the game's release is 2025, so yeah, it's 2025. And that being said, yeah, it's basically from that what I see, it's only Xbox and PlayStation 5, which means we are not going to have a situation probably like we had with Elden Ring network test, because since Elden Ring network test was actually on the PlayStation 4, people were able to use.
Oh yeah, they extract some info.
Yeah, they not only some info, like people were able to extract literally entire game and like access it, and you have even like this guy, like popular content creator known as Scamnut, I think. Yeah, Scamnut. So Scamnut literally like he actually kickstarted his channel by doing content from network test, and as far as I understand, he had like a like access to version of the of network test that had like essentially no time limit. So yeah, it's
They modded the GTA 3 main character into the goddamn network test.
wow, the most important mod of all time.
Yeah, that's first priority for every mod.
that's-
Every
that's-
console
It is.
game.
I have seen in one of the discords, the modding discords, freaking CJ from San Andreas posing as character from Armored Core 6. It was beautiful.
Dude, CJ modded in your game as a rite of passage for real.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I think I'm wrapping this up. I'm gonna finish the live stream. So thank you a lot, everyone, yet again. We are also going to have additional bloopers apparently to the podcast, so that's cool. And yeah,
There you go.
I see you later, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, GG's. Thanks for inviting us.
See you still.
See ya.
So we're
Yeah,
actually
take care,
leaving
guys.
now.
Yeah, now we
Actually,
do.
I had
lost
we
it.
do-
Yes, we are lost.
Okay,
You can't
cool.
Okay,
leave.
okay, you
Love
all,
you.
you all wait.
Bye.
Okay, he left.
Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
okay, we can stay now.
Bye,
And
Bye, Oh, he came back again.
Okay, back.
What's wrong, Lost?
Hey,
I'm not here.
ah,
I'm just. Are we talking about me?
We were talking
Decline.
about your huge penis, yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
okay. Bye.
Bye, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Lost state on the fucking call.
Self at this point, just chilling out, and you just can't leave me because you love me that much. I'm just that attractive.
We're back talking about Lost, or